Hi, Linda. Hi, Marcellus. And nice to see Fiona there too. I haven't seen Fiona in a long time. Hi, Celine. Great. It's great to see everyone. Hi, Heidi. And everybody. Suzanne. Okay, so we're going to get going in about a minute. So what I'm going to do is just basically tell everyone first about the general structure of what we're going to go through. As usual, Gord has videos he's prepared to compact and get as much in as I can to try and convey what I'm hoping everybody is looking to see and understand. So we're going to start into that in a moment, and just want to let you know there's also going to be a Q&A at the end, and Chris is going to share a link to the question sheet so people can stick their name in and post the question, and I'll do my best to answer it. And I'm also going to do a demo. I have one pre-recorded demo, and we're going to do a live demo or two, depending on how much time it takes to do the demos. And that's going to be exciting because everybody's going to get to see the power of things. So I think we're now about ready to get going. And I'm going to fire up our first video, and it's going to get us all in alignment and see where we're going. This first video is about 10 minutes, and I think you'll like it. Here we go. Of course, I gotta get it here on my drive. There we go. Okay. All right. Can someone just give a thumbs up that they see a video there? All right, good. So sound should be good, and just confirm that as well when you hear. Here we go. Thank you, Celine there. Hi, everyone. It's great to see you here. If we've met before, welcome back. And if you're new, I'm really glad you're joining us today. So, a quick bit about me. I've been working in AI for a few years now, and over the last year, I've really gone deep. Certifications, hands on training, building workflows, experimenting, and studying how AI can actually make content creation easier instead of more overwhelming. Along the way, I've developed a suite of creator focused GPT tools, the VidAlchemy GPT suite, and each element supports a different part of the creative process. But today, we're focusing entirely on one tool, Content Alchemy Studio, or CAS for short. I built Content Alchemy Studio because creators don't struggle with ideas, they struggle with bandwidth, structure, and staying consistent across platforms. CAS gives you a simpler way to create with clarity, with momentum, and with a voice that still feels like you. Not generic AI sounding you, just you on your best day. Here's the plan for today. I'm going to start with a high-level overview of what CAS is and how it works. Then we'll jump into some demos together. I'll walk you through a guided example, and then I'll do a couple of live passes with your input so you can see it in action. And after the demos, we'll look at the three-part system behind CAS, just so you can see how everything fits together. And just to be transparent up front, at the very end of the session, I'll share the details of the CAS beta program for anyone who feels like this could support your workflow. Absolutely no pressure. It's simply an option if it feels right. My goal today is simple, to show you a way of creating content that's easier, more consistent, and much more aligned with your actual voice and ideas. All right, before we get into the demos, I want to start with a really simple high-level overview of Content Alchemy Studio. I just put together a short video that explains CAS in a very clean, big picture way, just so everything lands clearly before we start clicking around. This will give you a solid feel for what CAS is, what it does, and how the three-part system works together. It's short, it's clear, and it'll make the demos much easier to follow. So let me play that for you now, and as you watch, pay attention to the overall structure and how everything fits together.
If you're a creator, you know this feeling all too well. You have hours of amazing interviews, pages of detailed notes, articles you've poured your heart into, but they're just sitting there. They're trapped in these long-form files. It's a total goldmine of potential, but actually getting that gold out, that's the real challenge. Well, today, we're going to look at a system that's designed to do just that. So, here's our game plan. We're going to break down a system called Content Alchemy Studio, or CAS for short. We'll start by introducing it, then we'll walk through its super simple 3-step workflow, meet the creative engines that make it all happen, figure out what makes it so different from other tools, and we'll wrap up with a quick start guide so you can get going right away. All right, let's dive right in. The tool we're talking about is Content Alchemy Studio, and it's built from the ground up to be your all-in-one creative intelligence system. Let me ask you something. Just think about all your past work for a second. The transcripts from your podcast, those notes from a coaching call, the articles you've written. Every single one is just packed with insights, with stories, and these brilliant little moments. That's not old content. That's a literal gold mine of assets you could be using right now.
And that's exactly where Content Alchemy Studio comes in. It's designed to take all that existing material, literally any text you have, and help you transform it into polished, ready-to-publish content. The whole idea is to help you pull out those key ideas, build new stories from them, and then repurpose everything to connect with your audience, no matter what platform they're on.
So how does it actually do that? Well, the entire system is built on a really simple but incredibly powerful 3-step workflow. This is the heart of how CAS works.
First up, you extract. CAS dives into your material and pulls out the most important quotes, the key insights, and all those standout moments. Then, you narrate. This is where you take those little gems you've extracted and build them into a full commentary, a video script, or even a detailed article. And finally, you repurpose. You take that brand new narrative and instantly adapt it into fresh, ready-to-go content for social media, newsletters, you name it.
And this is where the whole system's logic really starts to shine. See, each of these 3 steps is powered by its own dedicated creative engine. You can think of them like specialized workers, all designed to work together perfectly to take you from raw material all the way to a finished product.
So, let's meet those engines. These are the specialized tools that are doing all the heavy lifting at each stage of the workflow.
This table lays it all out perfectly. You've got the extraction engine, which is basically your treasure hunter. It dives in and pulls out those gold quotes and key themes with amazing precision. Then there's the commentary narrative engine, which is your storyteller. It takes those short ideas and expands them into compelling scripts or articles. And finally, the repurposing engine is your distribution expert, reframing that content for any platform you can think of.
Okay, so I know what you might be thinking. There are other AI tools out there. What makes this one so special? And the difference, really, it all comes down to a few core ideas, starting with precision and integrity. This is what really sets it apart. CAS isn't just summarizing stuff. Precision means it actually labels the accuracy of every single quote. Context awareness lets it understand the tone and emotion of your content. Integrity, and this is a huge one, means it will never invent facts. Every output can be traced right back to your original material. And creative alignment makes sure the final product always sounds like you.
This quote from the system's own documentation just nails it. A lot of AI tools can be creative, sure, but they can also be kind of unreliable. CAS is designed to give you both. It lets you be expressive and creative, but it has this verification layer that makes sure the output is always reliable and grounded in what you actually said. A huge piece of that reliability comes from a feature called quote modes. And the best part? It's completely automatic. CAS labels every quote it pulls with a precision mode so you always know exactly what you're looking at. So let's look at the 2 ends of the spectrum to see how this works. A gold quote is a fully verified, word-for-word quote straight from your source. It's perfect for things like fact-checking or citations. On the other end, you have an interpretation, which is a paraphrased version that captures the meaning when a direct quote just isn't possible. This transparency is absolutely key. You're never left guessing.
All right, enough theory. Let's see how this thing actually works in practice. This is your quick start guide for putting CAS into action with just a few simple prompts.
Let's just walk through the whole workflow. You'd start with the extraction engine, using a simple, natural prompt just like this one to find the best moments on a topic. And you can see here, you can even ask it to include timestamps if they're available in your file.
So once you have your extracted quotes, you can just feed them right into the narrative engine. And again, a simple prompt is all it takes. You're asking KS to take those raw insights and weave them into a story, a script, and you can even give it a specific theme, like leadership lessons.
And to complete the workflow, you use the repurposing engine. You take that script you just created and ask CAS to break it down for different platforms. You can tell it how many posts you want, which platform they're for, and even the exact tone you're going for. I mean, from one interview to a bunch of new content in just 3 simple steps, it's pretty incredible.
Now, to get the best results right out of the gate, here are a few quick tips. First, start with a smaller file, just to get a feel for the process. Also, don't be afraid to ask for different formats. You might be surprised by what it comes up with. And finally, keep your prompts descriptive. The more context you give about your audience or the tone you want, the better your results are going to be.
And here is a fantastic pro tip for when you're just starting out or maybe feeling a little stuck. Just upload a file and ask it, what can you do with this? CAS will analyze it and give you instant, actionable suggestions. It is the perfect way to break the ice and see what's possible.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's this really simple but powerful idea. Extract the gold from the content you already have, use that gold to tell a compelling new story, and then repurpose that story with purpose so it resonates everywhere.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Just take a moment and think about your own content library. All those transcripts, all those notes and documents, what amazing stories are just sitting there, waiting to be unlocked.
All right, now that you've seen the high-level overview, let's get hands-on. For the first demo, I'm going to guide you through a complete workflow inside Content Alchemy Studio so you can really see how everything connects. This will give you a clear sense of what it looks like to work with CAS day to day and how smooth and approachable the whole process is. The goal here is simple. I want you to see that this isn't something to be intimidated by. Once you understand the flow, it actually feels very natural, and you'll start to notice how the system helps you stay organized, consistent, and focused. We'll get to the fun part, the live demos. That's where I'll take a few pieces of material directly from you. A short transcript, a longer transcript, an article, a written paragraph, a topic idea, whatever you want, and I'll run them through CAS in real time. This way, you can see not only how the system handles structured examples, but also how it adapts to your own content and your own creative goals. All right, let's start with the guided workflow demo. Hey, I just want to come back to the main screen and tell me if everybody sees me now. Okay, I switched over. Okay, great. So we're going to go into the guided demo now, and I want to tell you that it was recorded for a reason. One of the superpowers of the Content Alchemy system is its ability to go across multiple documents and be able to pick quotes and cite them from anywhere, which is very powerful for people who are doing research to create content and things of that nature, right? And what you'll find is when you're using ChatGPT 5.1 in thinking mode, it can be a little slow. So for that part of the engine, the extraction, working with multiple documents, I didn't want to slow us up today to be waiting in between those prompts. Everyone experiences if you're doing anything deep, you'll know how that little wait can be, not so little. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch a demo I did with Laurie Anderson, who's here. Thank you, Laurie, again for all your help with that. And you're going to see how we work with multiple documents and pull together something very cool for Laurie. So that's going to be the guided demo, and I'm going to fire that up now. All right, so hang on. Here we go. Okay, fingers, thumb up. Everyone sees? Okay, good. Here we go. So now we're ready to start the guided demo. I'm so excited because this is where I get to show you how Content Alchemy Studio works with real files and resources so that you can see how great it is in going across the engines, the workflow, and being able to produce great assets for you. And today I have Lori Anderson here joining me. Welcome, Lori.
Hi, Gord. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Lori. And Lori has Content Alchemy Studio. She uses it a lot. But today we're going to work with some examples with of Bill Alexander's story and his legacy. And Lori, can you just tell us for a second who Bill is for people that might not know?
Yes, Bill Alexander was an artist. He was the first television painter on PBS, and he in the 70s and the 80s, he actually won an Emmy for one of his painting shows. He inspires and teaches people. In fact, even today, through his videos and his television shows that are recorded, he still inspires people today to paint and
Thank
to
you.
live life.
All right, that's awesome. So everybody keep that in mind because what we're going to do now is we're going to do an example. We're going to take some resources that Lori has. She has a show transcript we're going to use. That's like a 27-minute painting episode, and she hosts these videos on YouTube. And then we're going to take a couple of documentary clip pieces, the transcripts from those, and then pull the stuff together. So you'll see how that all unfolds. So now we're going to start in and see how things come together. So the Content Alchemy Studio is built around three engines: the extraction, commentary, and repurposing. Today, we'll walk through a real project with Lori. And again, like I just said a moment ago, we're going to use Bill Alexander's legacy content, and so that you can see it go through the whole process. As you watch, I just want you to think about your own work where you might swap out Bill's materials for your own podcasts or a course, and the engine stays the same, and we're just showing you here we're focused on Bill's legacy content. You can have your own specialized content to work with. So everything you'll see as well is powered by the same model family as ChatGPT 5.1, but CAS, Content Alchemy Studio, wraps it in a studio workflow so you don't have to reinvent the process every time. So here we are inside ChatGPT, and we're going to be working with the files that Lori gave me for us to use in this session today in our guided demo. And we have three files, but first we're going to start out with two. These two are transcripts from Bill's documentary, and they're on different subjects. So the first one says transcript motivated by the power around him. That's for Bill. And the second one is Bill's enthusiasm for the Almighty. And so we've loaded those up into ChatGPT. And because we're sort of mining for the information right now, we're going to have Kaz look at those clips, those clip files that we've uploaded, the transcripts, and come up with some life philosophies that Bill talks about. And then it's going to give us this output like we see below here that's going to have a short label, 1 to 2 bullet points, and a quote. So this is our effort to first see what's out there. And Lori knows and has told me Bill talks about life philosophies and all the painting lessons and things that he does. So it's a good way for us to find something of use to go forward with when we look at the episode as well. So first, we're just mining for ideas. So share joy and love openly. He feels a real two-way love and is with his audience and wants them close, not distant. At peak happiness or inspiration, his instinct is to share it with others, not keep it to himself. Quote, I love you because you love me too, and I wish I had you sitting around me right now because it is so wonderful. So that's very much Bill's personality and warmth. And just to show you, we said we have those two transcripts there, and because this is referred to that as a quote, I'm going to show you here. I have the transcripts. There's three files here, those two that I just mentioned, and then the episode, the show, is in a big, large file. But right here, I put in I love you too because you love me too. And you can see The whole quote is here, okay? So that's just validation of one of the special things that CAS does. No matter how many resources you throw together, it does an amazing job at synthesizing the quotes and the material from it with great accuracy and precision. So now coming back, Lori, like there's a few other ones here, like let nature feed your energy, turn life's explosion into art, treat creativity as God-given power, and so, for example, Bill says here, God give me that almighty power. He right now you see behind me that almighty power. So Bill's talking about this philosophy, and how do you find these look to you as quote extractions and theme ideas from there?
What's amazing to me is that this is exactly like Bill, and it's the way he lived his life, and it's what his audience loved about him. And he was very sincere and really believed that he really meant it when he said, "I wish I had you sitting right here," and the people could feel it. And it sounds exactly like him.
That's great. So what we're showing everybody is that very quickly, Lori could have a whole bunch of sources. It's found quotes, summarize them in a way that is useful for us. Now we're going to bring in the next resource that we have in our we're still working in the extractions phase of things in the extraction engine. And now what we want to do is we're going to use Bill's episode called Majestic Wilderness when he was painting that painting. So this is out of the YouTube video. And we want to say for each philosophy that was listed above, find 1 to 2 moments in the painting episode where Bill is living or demonstrating that idea. For each match, give approximately a timestamp, because the shows have timestamps done in them in their transcripts, 1 to 2 bullets of what's happening and a short quote reference. So what we're actually doing now is we've got philosophies and ideas from the 2 documentary transcripts to give us some ideas and things to explore. Now we're going to go see what is similar in philosophy and application from those documentaries in the actual episode. So we're trying to cross pollinate, in other words. So now we see, Lori, share joy and love. So these are approximate timestamps in here, and it gives us a little context. And so, for example, share joy and love openly. This is one of Big's big things, right? Opens by joking about breakfast and happy laughs, warming the viewer up before any painting happens, emphasizes joy and looseness as the emotional baseline. And then we have a quote here. Did you have a happy breakfast? Did you have a happy laugh? You know, a happy laugh in the morning is so wonderful. So I'm just going to show you, we're going to take that part there. We're going to go back to our quote files, and here's the 27-minute episode. Look at that. It's just a whole big mash of text, and we're going to put in there that quote, and there it is. It happens to be right at the beginning because Bill loves to start things out. So we can see here that it's verbatim and it's found inside the big episode. So we know we're dealing with facts, which is what we want, and that's what Kaz's specialty is. Now we go down, and then so if you go through here, each one of the themes here, the philosophies, have examples in there and context for us to work with. So again, this is giving Lori more ideas and understanding so that she knows what we can potentially pull together as a result of these extractions, meaning what can we do next for commentary and repurposing. So is there any other things here that you want to comment about, Lori, or like what you're seeing here? Like look at these quotes and other things.
You know, I spent a lot of time with Bill, and I look at this, and it just blows me away. It's his exact words, the way he would speak. A lot of people wanted to know what he was really like, and I love the fact that not only does it talk about what he would say in an interview, but you see him right on the videos, on the painting shows, living his philosophy. He was one of those kind of men that he lived what he believed, and it showed up in every episode.
I like this one. When you want it all, you want it all now. I don't want it tomorrow. I want it now. When I paint, I'm very hungry. Just shows the passion and energy of life in what he does. So now we have, just like Lori said, both both all these sources sort of help us converge ideas because we're able to find the philosophies that we found in the documentary clips in here in the actual episode. So that's great. And now we're going to go on to the next stage, which is to deal with the the actual commentary that we want to create associated with what we've mined so far. So we've just finished with the extraction stage. Now, the next step is for us to go into doing commentary to write something in Lori's voice because that's what the goal is, what we're in terms of what we're trying to achieve today. And I loaded something called Lori's voice snippet. I have a separate GPT where I can have the person load up some documents and it'll do an analysis and come up with a profile for Lori's voice style for how she writes and communicates. So that was already done, and I uploaded it here. And that file is actually in what's called a JSON file format. So it looks kind of technical here, but we don't need to worry about that now. You could actually inside ChatGPT say, I want to give you my persona or voice style, and it'll ask you a whole bunch of questions. But that's all done, and we have something called a voice snippet that represents Lori's voice style. So as you can see in here, there are things like tone. She's neutral, but warm and encouraging, feels like a kind guide, not hypey. And another one is voice of, let's look here, active voice direct. You address with inclusive we when you're inviting people into something. And then engagement style, lots of gentle affirmations. You belong, you're allowed, you're ready, and very clear, low friction calls to action, and a bunch of other details. So that's Lori's voice style snippet. And now when we go further in the commentary engine, it's absorbed that style and it's going to apply it to the writing activities. Now we're working in the commentary engine and we have Lori's voice snippet, and that's going to influence the quality of writing that it's going to produce.
Good morning.
And what we're going to do now is prompt to get some more information for that purpose. So this prompt says, using this list of Bill's life philosophies and quotes from the extraction step above, in Lori's voice, write a short narration for a 2 to 3 minute video that briefly introduces who Bill is, walks through these philosophies in a natural story-like way, and points to his painting episode as where we see him living it. Keep it warm, conversational, and ready to be used as voiceover. So we gave it a nice, potent prompt. You can write them long, you can write them short, but the more context you give always helps in the quality of what you get out. So now it's going to put together this 2 to 3 minute voiceover, and it's very much in Lori's voice style. So Lori, let's look at this here. Bill Alexander isn't just a painter. He's this wild, generous current of energy in human form, a man who looks at a blank canvas and sees life exploding. If you've seen his Majestic Wilderness episode, you know what I mean. He doesn't ease you and he opens with a laugh, checking if you had a happy breakfast, asking if you were ready to enjoy this with him. That's his first philosophy. Then notice how we start with each of these little philosophy sections. So it's taken a few of those philosophies. It's now gone into the episode, as we just saw in reference to the transcript from the episode of painting. It's actually pulled this all together and written it in Lori's voice. How does it look to you, Lori, in terms of what you're seeing here?
It sounds exactly like I would write. It's exactly what I would say about Bill, and it's such a time saver. I mean, it's just amazing the quality of this. It's my voice.
That's very cool because I love also that it's pulled some quotes in for reference, in the way it's pulled this together. You know, he says you can't help. You think God gives you all of that. Okay. And then things like there's a few more quotes here. So if you watch Majestic Wilderness again, notice this, you're not just watching a guy paint mountains. You're watching someone who loves you openly, draws strength from the land, treats creativity as sacred, or refuses to waste a single drop. Okay. So I just thought it's kind of nicely written, and I know you, Lori, and it does sound very much like you. And there's little uh, quote snippets like here, did you enjoy that painting? Thank you for watching me. What was that in terms of philosophy? Is that like a gratitude thing or?
Yeah, absolutely. He loved the audience because he knew that if without the audience, he truly believed that if everybody would learn to paint in the world, that the world would be a better place. And so he really loved that the audience would show up, and he truly was grateful for that. And a lot of people wrote to him and said he was there. So he truly felt like he was interacting with the people in their own homes.
Very cool. So it's again validating for us that it seems to be nicely capturing those philosophies from the documentary clips right inside the Majestic Wilderness painting. And Lori didn't have the painting episode, and Lori didn't have to do anything. It did that cross pollination for her and found everything and pulled something together in Lori's voice. So now let's move on to the next piece. So now that we had that nice 2 to 3 minute voiceover commentary style thing in Lori's voice, let's find what kinds of outputs or let's decide on some outputs that we want in the repurposing side of things. So we're going from commentary engine now to the repurposing. So let's look at this prompt that we put together. So using the Lori narration you just wrote about Bill's life philosophies as the source, don't rewrite it. Create in Lori's voice a 60-second YouTube short script, a Facebook group post, a 5 to 7 tweet Twitter thread, and an email broadcast. Keep everything concise and ready to paste into real platforms. No extra explanations. So we've just asked it to produce a whole bunch of pieces of content. And what you're going to see, one of the things Kaz does so well is the consistency of the voice, and it carries it through despite what platform or output style, it delivers it in a style that reflects Lori's persona and befits the platform target where it's going into. So now let's look at what some of these outputs look like. So first we have a short here, Lori, for YouTube. Ever seen someone paint like their whole life is bursting out of the canvas? That's Bill Alexander. He doesn't just teach you to paint, he invites you into his world. First thing he does, he checks on you. Did you have a happy breakfast? That's his way of saying you belong here. Bill's joy comes straight from the land, the sun, the mountains, and those 1,000 colors. Nature is his battery pack. So we're seeing again the quality and consistency of what it's pulled and synthesized together. And this is a big, strong feature of Content Alchemy Studio, is that it has the ability to maintain a sense of consistency in the voice style, no matter what platform the output is, and it remembers all the details from the excerpts and philosophies that we melded together here to do what we're doing here. So that, do you have any comment yet, Lori? Like, I'm just showing you, we're looking through some of these, like here's the Facebook post caption. Here he checks in on our joy. He pulls energy from the land. See, there's a consistency there in the theme and concept, but it's totally written differently for the Facebook group platform. See here. And then anyways, look at this, even a nice Twitter thread for us. What are your thoughts here on what you see in terms of the quality of these outputs and how usable are they? And do you see that you need to do a lot of work to sort of take them to the level of being able to post them?
Well, Gord, what I think of immediately is that it was just took seconds to come up with all of this. And normally I would write a post and I'd have to tweak it and figure out, okay, I don't want to sound exactly like this. And what we did, what Kaz did right here, is it gave us all these posts, so it's not going to just look like they see the same thing everywhere they go and my exact same words everywhere. And it takes something that would have taken me hours to do, and we did it just in like minute or seconds, not
Mhm.
minutes, seconds.
Yeah. And tell me from your experience of just using like ChatGPT by itself, how do you see the quality of the set of these and staying in your tone of voice as compared to if you were trying to do this? Like, would you like what effort would you have to put into that would be more involved in using ChatGPT versus CAS? Like, do you have a perspective on how you see that that's a little different than using the conventional just ChatGPT?
Yeah, I've used Chat GPT since it came out, and there were a lot of times, you put something in, and then you just have to give it a lot more direction. I mean, it's like, no, this doesn't sound, and like, okay, you've kind of lost track of what we're trying to do here. And what I find in CAS, I just don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I come here first. I use CAS first on any of this content creation or anything that I do because it just is, and the quality of it and how it remembers from um, project to project, Bill and me, and it's just it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And that's part of the strength of the commentary engine, the narration, because it's grounded, and the narration is generated by the commentary engine, and all these outputs stay on message in Lori's voice, and they don't drift. And there's a
Yeah.
much greater risk in ChatGPT general of having that drift risk, and sometimes you may have to correct it and go through a process of having to do a lot of correction work. I find personally, and Lori can attest to it, that there's very little correction. Once it knows your style, it's like so on point all the time that it's such a great time saver, and it builds your confidence in the quality of what's being produced. Is sort of how I see it.
Gord, there's one more thing that I notice in Chat GPT. When I start working on something, it goes out no matter how many times I say, don't use the term joy of painting because that belongs to another company, that term. And it I have to tell it over and over and over again. It just doesn't get it. And so I have to look for that so I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. And that hasn't happened at all in CAS.
So what you're saying is if you set it once, it sort of remembers it, and it
Yep.
and keeps it on track on message, and whatever tweaking or tuning you do sort of stays intact across all the kinds of repurposed outputs you produce. That's
Yeah.
what I'm hearing there. Okay, now we're going to move on. So now we're just going to go one step further with the repurposing engine, and we're going to do some tweaking. So this is the same repurposing engine, but now we're giving it a bit more direction. We're not rewriting everything. We're just nudging it. We're going to start the short with a hook, and the Facebook post with a question. Give us punchier tweets and better subject lines. CAS updates all the assets accordingly. If you like to keep creative control, you can give CAS small guidelines like this instead of drafting every version by hand. Think of this as telling your assistant, same content, but make the hook stronger and finish with a question so people respond. The point here isn't that we're writing long prompts, it's that the repurposing engine understands all the assets as a set, so one tweak instruction can refine them together. With plain GPT, you'd be going back to each asset one by one. In CAS, you can tune the whole batch in one pass. So let's look at these outputs here. First, we said YouTube short with a strong hook in the first 3 to 5 seconds. So this is a totally different start than what we had before. This 75-year-old fires mountains onto canvas like his life depends on it. His name is Bill Alexander. He just doesn't teach you to paint. He invites you into his world. So that's a whole different kind of hook entry. I'm just showing a few of the highlights here. Facebook group post, and with a question to spark comments. So when we get into the Facebook group post, we can see here. If you need a reminder that you're allowed to live boldly and gratefully, watch him fire in that mountain and feel the urgency and love. Where in your life do you want to bring the same living power right now? So just like very well done and messaged. and then we had the Twitter thread, and then in the email, give 2 subject line options and a warm personal feeling opening line. So let's go down just to that one. Hope you're not getting dizzy from the scroll. Okay, 2 new subject lines. What a wild painter taught me about living power. Watching a mountain appear and feeling more alive. Hey friend, I was thinking about you today, and this old painting episode with Bill Alexander popped into my mind. In Majestic Wilderness, he doesn't just show you how to paint a mountain. He checks on your joy. He pulls energy from the land. He treats creativity as a gift moving through him, not something he owns. So you can see with just very little details and prompting, we were able to nudge, and it could go through and apply a whole series of changes across the board. And again, you're going to find very consistent application in the repurposing engine, because I'm just telling you, it's very well trained and understands all the different platforms, what kind of personas and angles make sense, as well as the formats for the outputs. And then combined with that, knowing Lori's voice, and it keeps everything on the rails. It's just, it does well. So you've just watched Content Alchemy Studio end to end. Extraction pulled Bill's philosophies and quotes out of multiple transcripts. Commentary turned it into narration in Lori's voice. And repurposing exploded that into platform-ready content. Under the hood, Kaz balances precision and speed. We use a heavier model when we need quote level accuracy and a lighter one when we're just shaping the story. You can plug almost any long form content into the pipeline: podcasts, courses, webinars, client calls, founder stories, and get the same flow: extract, narrate, repurpose. All of this runs on the same underlying model family as ChatGPT 5.1. The difference is that Kaz gives you a structured studio environment, a 3-engine pipeline, transcripts treated as a shared library, pre-infused voices, and quote-safe extraction by default. With plain ChatGPT, you can approximate pieces of this, but you're responsible for reinventing the workflow and guardrails every time. Kaz is that workflow already wired for you. Lori, what do you think of our exercise today?
Oh, it's fantastic. Gord, I have been the keeper of the Bill Alexander legacy since 1997 when he passed away. And it's a tremendous responsibility and a lot of content. I have, hundreds of hours of video, and it was just almost overwhelming to think about what I could do with that and how I could share it with the public. And Kaz has changed my life, has changed my world, because now I can see how I can actually get content out there quickly, and the way Bill should be shared, and that people should know about him. And I am really grateful for this program, and it's going to make, it already has, it already does make a difference in my life because I've been using it for a while. But Gord, my hat's off to you on this one.
Thank you, Lori. I greatly appreciate also you taking the time to participate today in our guided demo. And I hope everyone got some good perspective on that. And that's a wrap for the guided demo. So now, thank you all for your patience. I hope you found that interesting to see how we applied the GPT, and it's very robust. It's got very deep training in multiple areas, and it just works, and it's very efficient. And now we're going to enter the live demo section. And I just see someone that joined us recently, Brad, and I've got a great use case with Brad because he's got a podcast to publish, and maybe we're going to look at that shortly. But did anyone else? I could take one other person. I didn't see anyone put anything into the chat, and if that's the case, I can jump right into Brad and show you into Brad's use case and show us what to do. Before I do that, I created a special document I'm going to share with everyone after, and I call it CAS recipes. So I'm just going to show you what that's about because Brad's use case is in there, and it's pretty neat. So let me just get that on screen here and show everyone that for just a minute before we go into doing Brad's live demo. So, oops, wrong screen. I want to share regular. There we go. Okay. Can everyone see the Word document? A thumb up would be good. Thank you. Okay, great. So this is what I call CAS recipes. So it's 5 quick ways to turn existing content into assets. So for example, a repurpose sprint. You've got a call, a training, a Zoom meeting or something like that. And you have a recording transcript and we can easily create all kinds of assets from that fairly quickly and even quote things to precision. Another example, a launch stack. Let's say that you're relaunching a program, a service, or an offer. You can throw in your assets and then ask it to come up and help you in producing these things. And by the way, Kaz has been trained on all kinds of outputs, not just social platforms. So it's very powerful and very knowledgeable to produce all kinds of output. I think you saw when we were doing the guided demo that everything sort of had the flavor, the shape. It knows the platform. It knows the style of outputs on different platforms. So we can very easily just say, hey, do Twitter a tweet and it'll know to format it and produce it and adjust its tone and adapt if you even gave it a tone. It just has the platform's awareness in there built in. And then here we are. We're going to do this use case now, which is Brad's. He's got a podcast that he recently did. And I have a link to, I have his transcript. So I'm going to bring that in. And I think we're actually going to produce podcast notes for Brad plus anything else he'd like. Some shorts, clips. I think he does a lot of shorts that he publishes on things like LinkedIn and Facebook. So we can quickly do a few of those things. So let's bring Brad in here. So I'm going to come back and let me see here. Brad, are you there? There's Brad.
I'm here.
Okay, cool. I want to see if I can multi-speaker gallery speaker view. Okay, so I'm going to let kind of Brad talk for a bit here. So Brad, we've worked together a lot, and I've, in the last few months introduced you to Content Alchemy Studio. Can you just share for everyone how you see this is going to help you with your workflow and how you see applying it in some of the things we've done?
Sure. So, I mean, I think there's lots of different ways it's going to help me. It's helping me to prepare show notes, to go through and pick out themes in the podcast and to pull multiple quotes from the guests, which is something that I've been doing manually before. That's very time consuming. So it's going to save me time there. It saves me time by creating social media posts, creating scripts for YouTube shorts, really just helping me do pretty much what I've been doing in significantly less amount of time so that I can be doing other things or maybe even editing multiple podcasts in a week instead of just one a week. It's been helping me those ways.
Well, that's fantastic. And I know that when we were talking about you using Content Alchemy Studio, I asked you how long it took you to do your show notes and what was one of the biggest hangups in doing your show notes that's caused like a lot of time and energy to be put into it.
I mean, really, I have to listen to the whole podcast. And while I'm listening, I try to manually pull out quotes that I think are relevant and manually be thinking about themes. And so I sort of have two screens and I have the podcast on one, I have my show note template on the other, and I'm, going back and forth. And it takes me for a 30-minute podcast, it takes me at least 2 hours, maybe a little more. to do it manually, probably a little more to do it manually. So this has helped me. I still have to listen to the podcast because I'm obsessive compulsive about making sure that there aren't a lot of misspelled words and that the punctuation is right uh, in the captions that I'm embedding into the video.
Mhm.
But it speeds that up a whole lot doing some of this other stuff.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to start a live session, and what I'm going to do in Content Alchemy Studio is I'm going to bring in, because I have Brad's voice snippet we've already pre-created. I could also just tell it, we could come up with a few words that would describe sort of Brad's voice style, and Brad, you kind of like doing a little sarcastic humor sometimes, or just humor in general and other things, right? So what we did is in my other GPT, one of the ones I have, we fed in a bunch of Brad's material and just let it come up and define a persona from that, from just scratch. So I'm going to put that in, just like I did with in Lori's guided demo. So then we have Brad's persona in there. Then I'm going to load the podcast episode, and then we're going to do show notes, but I'll ask it a few other general questions so you can just see the output and the quality of what's there. So let me bring that up for us and get started. Okay. So um, now I don't know I don't know why it's not showing me. Brad, what are you seeing on the screen now?
I'm
Are you-
seeing your file structures.
Oh, okay. So it's a full screen. Good. Okay. So I'm going to come into Content Alchemy Studio, which I have in here. No, I don't. We'll just open up a new one. Okay. Come into ChatGPT, and then here it is, Content Alchemy Studio. You'll see here. And if you just want to see like what's the general process for using it, first I have a descriptor: repurpose any transcript, video, podcast, article, or meeting into clips, scripts, posts, blogs, and emails. Capture key moments, add commentary, and scale your voice. So this is when you click start, it gives you just an onboarding, which basically tells you something similar to what that description is. And we have inside Content Alchemy Studio something called searchable and polished. Searchable means it's finding a string that it can search on to get verbatim, and then it can pull a quote. Polished means, which is like something like ChatGPT would do, it'll just throw its own interpretation, and it won't be factual, but it may be nice because ChatGPT is like a master of inferring meaning and doing something descriptive. But if you're wanting to do things like Brad's doing with a podcast, where the factual accuracy of the quotes and things like that the details matter, you won't find that consistent in just ChatGPT alone. There's been a lot of training put into Content Alchemy Studio to ensure that precision and prevent drift and all kinds of other technical things. So I won't go there. So see here, it's giving you examples of a few things. You can ask for highlights, clips, and etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up here. I'm going to load in Brad's episode here. And Brad, while I'm doing this, maybe you can just tell people what the podcast episode is about for a second, like a few seconds, just to give us an idea so they know the theme of what's going on there.
Sure. This is an interview with a gentleman named Michael Chong, who is a futurist, and he was talking a lot about AI and what we're going to be seeing in the world of AI over the next few years. He has a class, uh, an academy that he's rolling out in early December that he was talking a little bit about to sort of do some promotion for that.
Yeah. So one of the things, Brad, you also mentioned to me was you have a whole queue of backlog of episodes to get up and posted, and you said typically his would come like way out, and you're trying to move this forward, and yeah, we're going to do something to try and help you with that. So what I've done here is I've loaded the Brad's episode, which you see is this document here, and then I added Brad's voice snippet, and I'm just going to, for fun, ask it, can you tell me some of the themes? Well, I'm going to speak it. Themes that Brad and Michael talk about in this 1 hour podcast episode, or I'm not sure if it's an hour, but that's okay. Um, in this podcast episode. Okay, there, take that out. Okay, so Kaz is going to work at it. I'm using thinking mode. If I used 5.1 instant, it would bring it back quickly. And I actually should have done that because I only have one resource. So I'm talking away. Well, it was quicker than I thought. So, Brad, you're familiar with the episode. Um, let's choose one of these topics because you like to make YouTube shorts, right?
I do.
And so choose one of these topics that appeals to you, and we'll just make an example, show people go quickly through the engine in a second, and they'll see nice finished quoted because we're going to show that off.
Okay. So I think his discussion about his theory of time compression was kind of interesting. So that might be a good place.
Okay, time compression, Uber trend, life is accelerating. What is Uber trend, Brad? Is that the product?
No, it's just a catchphrase, a
Okay,
word that he uses.
okay. Life is accelerating. We multitask, have less focus, and innovation cycles are shrinking from 18. Okay, so I'm going to say using the theme two, which is in reference to that, can you pull some gold, I'm going to call it verbatim quotes for us to consider for commentary? Okay. So all we're doing is just telling it to go into the script and find us some precision bites. But here's another thing I want to tell people. When you do use tools like Opus Clip and some of these other ones that go get you clips, yeah, they have video tools and they go find things. They have like one core algorithm and it's based on virality. I could say, go find me the funny quotes in here and it'll precision do that. So your flexibility just goes to another level and for creativity, just like, when in Lori's case, we could have said, find me quotes where Bill's funny on screen, and it'll do that. So the extraction engine works with that kind of precision and will bring stuff back for you. So I'm just going to put here, can you pull some goal verbatim quotes for us to consider? So I'm just going to say goal verbatim highlight quotes, okay? Because I'm not doing any general classification on it. So using theme two. So this is still considered us doing our effort in the extraction side of things. And so when we're done here in a second, well, it's taking longer like I was expecting. The first return was faster than I thought. Here we go. It's telling us what it's doing. I don't know if you find that interesting. I'm curious by what the AI tells us in its process of doing things. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Except this time it's not sharing a lot of its work. Okay, we should be here in a minute. See, this is why in the guided demo, I didn't want to absorb a lot of time. So we went through that sort of the end result of everything, which just made it flow much more quickly. I'm going to show you right now after this, because now that we've extracted things, I could change it to instant. And then you're going to see that it's going to go much faster. And because we're just using like one source, it should work. I don't know if I can switch it in right midstream. I might be able to do that, but I don't think it's okay. We can just click. Well, I don't want to disrupt it and bugger it up. So this is a good time for a quick bathroom break. Oh, I apologize. This is the kind of thing I didn't want to see happen, but unfortunately, it's just ChatGPT at its best sometimes.
It's a busy time of day.
Ironically, if you operate on the phone, it's lightning fast comparatively. So I often do a lot of development and deep stuff right on the phone, and then I come back in and it's all in the session here. For some reason, the servers that do the desktop stuff like just don't seem to be on the same level of performance. I don't know why this is lost. Okay, creating time, gold keys. So here's the detail of its thinking. Okay, it's almost done. It just had to wake up kind of thing. Okay. Say gold key number one. I have an trend called time compression, the acceleration. So this is the key that it used to find. And then here's the actual verbatim searchable quote. And we're going to just open up Brad's file here. This is the episode. And I'm going to bring it on. And I know I should be able to verify that quote. So I just need a part of it here. I have an Uber trend called time compression. Okay. And then we're just going to go here. There we go. So see here, the quote starts there, and it's pretty much 100% accurate. If it ever came back and it wasn't, you just say to it, "Hey, doesn't look like you nailed it. Can you re-pull the quotes?" And it'll do that. But it's rare. Fortunately, ChatGPT 5.1 solved a lot of deficiencies in the models and how they drifted and had contamination and other things and rationalized things in certain ways. Now the performance is superior. So I just wanted to show you that. So there now we have a few quotes. I have an Uber trend called time compression, the acceleration of life, and the side effect of that is we're multitasking. We are impatient. So which one of these, Brad, do you like? Let's just say we want to do a YouTube short. It's not a good idea. It's not a bad idea to pull a quote, right? Because I think if I'm not mistaken, you'll have you and the guest on screen, so you could use this as a means to quickly grab the quote out of the video. So I'm going to just get this to write something for us, though, as if it's like a commentary. So is there one of these you'd like?
Um,
There's a whole bunch actually here.
oh, I like the number three up there is pretty good.
Okay, moving at hyperspeed. Okay, so I'm going to say using quote, sorry, gold three quote, please. And I'm going to ask it to make us a YouTube short. So now what we're doing is we've done some searching, we've found some quotes, and I'm going to say two things. I'm going to, from a commentary style standpoint, because Brad may like to do a little more humor. What if you were to choose something to adapt in your persona now? I want to do that so it's flavored into the commentary it writes for us in the video. So what would you say an element of Brad we'd want to focus more on or give a little more?
Probably more of the more on the professional side.
So I'm just telling, give us a little more professional tone in the response, and please give a little more use gold coke and draft YouTube short featuring the quote and some commentary in Brad's, I'm going to say, more professional tone. Okay, so we just given it a little guidance to shape the commentary. We could go deep into what we do here. Just want to tell everybody, I originally created Content Alchemy Studio in its very early beginning was to be able to do reaction videos. So I always found great content on YouTube I wanted to use. And then I'd say, wow, but I have no idea how to package it together. So I could have two people on screen, like I would do a lot of stuff on in YouTube videos, and it would be Daryl Eves and say someone like Scott Simpson. And I go, okay, I love that quote. And I'm going to say, okay, write a commentary script in my style where I add some value to what they're saying, and it literally would come up with ideas and all kinds of cool things and variations, and it's trained on culture, it's trained on all kinds of things on how to come up with creative things for commentary, which is like very unique. So here's short YouTube short script. Everyone keeps saying AI is moving fast, but most people don't understand just how fast until you hear this. Okay, so you'd put the quote in, right? So Brad would be on screen talking, and then it would lead into the quote. So this is just a part of it. Brad will instantly find that in his transcript, and in the video, he can decide how much context he wants to pull in, right? Because it is moving at hyperspeed, and that's the thing that AI is doing. AI is compressing the innovation cycle. So you would go in, right, Brad, and you would just take a clip from the, the the podcast interview, and you get that context piece to put in, and then Brad can add now, come back on, and this is added. This is not in the podcast. So Brad can say that acceleration changes the expectations for leaders. Innovation cycles used to follow that old 18-month Silicon Valley rhythm. Not anymore. 90 days is becoming the new normal. So you see how it used Brad's professional tone style, added value in commentary, and now we have a nice short. So Brad's conclusion. So the real question for organizations isn't how do we adopt AI? It's can we operate at a cadence that matches it? Because if we can't keep pace, the gap widens very quickly. Want more insights like this? Follow for deeper conversations with the people building the future. So how does that look, Brad? Is that like the kind of sample, a good sample of what you might do for a short?
Oh, absolutely. I want you to copy that and paste that into a document and send it over to me right away so
Okay, I will.
I can start
Now,
creating.
yeah, so I could easily say here, just so people can appreciate, I could say, do, okay, pick a few more quotes and using the tone of we just described, produce me, produce for me a LinkedIn post, a Twitter thread, and an email broadcast to send out. Now, because CAS keeps everything on the rails, it knows what we're doing. It's going to be consistent, and you'll see in the quality of what we get. So there's just like one sentence. And, yeah, people can do this kind of thing in Chat GPT, but you'll find that if you work with the content and the messaging, this just keeps everything on the rails, and it's going to be totally Brad. You're not going to have much tweaking or work to do. Okay, here are three additional verbatim quotes from the episode, and here they are. So quote A. So I know I miss the time compression. People hate me when I speak about it, but it's a fact of life and we can't go back. You cannot tolerate that pace, and we're seeing that already. So here it put together a LinkedIn post. The pace is no longer linear, it's compounding. In my recent conversation with futurist Michael Chong, is that Chong? Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. He shared something that stuck with me. We're talking 90 days. In 90 days, we're going to be developing new cool tools. For leaders, that reality isn't a technology story. It's an operational readiness. Innovation cycles used to be 18-month window. Today, those windows are collapsing into quarters. And as Michael put it, it's a fact of life and we can't go back. So the quotes are accurate. You can see there's consistency because the storyline is being carried through and it feels like it's the same kind of Brad we're looking at. And then so that's and it's very LinkedIn tone in style and everything. So do you concur with all that I'm saying there,
Yeah,
Brad?
that's great. Yeah.
Okay. Now here's a Twitter thread. Punchy, insight led, still professional. AI isn't just accelerating, it's compressing the entire innovation cycle. Michael Chong said it well. So, see here, similar quotes being used. For leaders, this doesn't mean move faster, it means operate differently. The 18-old iteration mindset gone. So, you see how it's totally on the rails. It's referring to the same quotes and it's batching stuff and producing different platform outputs. So, I just wanted people to see that as part of the demo. And here's a nice broadcast email that Brad can send out. Hi there, I've been having a series of conversations lately about the pace of technology change, and the more I dig in, the clearer one thing becomes. We're no longer operating in traditional innovation cycles. Those cycles are compressing quickly. In my recent discussion with futurist Michael Chong, he shared this line that's echoing in my head. So see the themes carried through, written differently, Brad's voice, this is like an example of how well it stays on the rails. And we could spin all kinds of other pieces of content. But now I wanted to do one last thing to complete our demo. Was for Brad, I wanted to ask it to produce podcast notes. Now, people will have different structures to what they have, but one of the key things is Brad always likes quotes, and that takes, as part of it, the output, and that takes time and effort, as he said, listening to every detail and then making the decisions. So we're just going to ask it, please produce podcast notes for this episode. And I'm going to say, be sure to include verbatim quotes. Well, how many do you want, Brad?
Um,
5 to 7, I think,
yeah,
something like
that's
that.
fine.
Yeah, and you can always edit it down. 5 to 7 verbatim quotes in the output amongst the other detail. Okay. So now I just click enter. Now it's going to scan the entire episode. It knows traditional, pretty standard type structuring for podcasts. And so it starts with an episode overview. Then it goes into key themes and insights. And it's actually decided to give quotes along the way now. Brad may not have wanted that, but there are quotes here. I could just say it to give a rack of quotes, or I could have said nothing and it would have done it anyways. So it's given a rack of quotes. Let's see what else we get here. Um, okay, what leaders should take away. That's right, takeaways, right, Brad?
Yeah,
Recommended action items. And okay, so there's an example. So Brad's got a lot to work with, including exact quotes and everything. If I just said, now do a standard podcast uh, uh, episode notes output with quotes having their own section. If I didn't give that direction, this is where you might have to tweak what you're doing. So we're just doing a few lines in here. So standard, not podcast style output. So we got the summary. Let's just see topics covered. It's good. Key takeaways. These are pretty standard, right? For podcast notes, right? The standard.
yeah,
Verbatim quotes. Okay. And we can check those, but we've already checked quotes enough. I don't want to keep spending more time. Action items for leaders and resources mentioned. So assuming this is all accurate and Brad checks things out, he doesn't have a lot of work to do the finished work. He can actually audit what's here and then make some more decisions or tweak and poke. So thank you so much, Brad, for
thank you.
helping me out here today. I think that was very cool.
Yeah, it
And
was. It
and
really was. Thank
so
you.
see how we got what 3-4 pieces of content, podcast notes, all this done in like very little time, right in your tone of voice. And I will send you the chat link so you can copy out everything after we're done.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Brad. And now I'm going to come back to the gallery view, and we're going to continue now. We're very close. I have the last video piece, and then we go into Q&A. Okay. And this is not very long at all, so just bear with me. Thank you all for your patience. Um, okay, so go Brad, Sue Ann. Okay, I'm just taking a quick look. Um, so now we're going to share advanced video file, share, and class part 2. There we go. All right. This is just 7 minutes. Here we go. Great. Now that you've seen CAS in action, both in a guided example and live with your inputs, I want to show you the simple 3-part system behind everything you just saw. Engine 1, the extraction engine. The extraction engine is all about helping you find the gold inside your source material, like transcripts and long-form content, quickly. Instead of staring at a wall of text or trying to manually skim long scripts, the extraction engine accurately pulls out the strongest, clearest, or most compelling moments without inventing or paraphrasing. It gives you both a searchable version and a polished version, so you get the best of both worlds. The whole purpose here is to reduce overwhelm and make your content feel manageable. When extraction is done right, you start the creative process with clarity instead of confusion. This is where you can save hours and a lot of mental energy. It's not just faster, it's lighter. Engine 2, the commentary engine. The commentary engine takes the highlights and turns them into narrative. This is where hooks, context, insights, and payoff get shaped, where you build the emotional pull, establish authority, add nuance, clarify meaning, inject perspective, and guide your audience through how to think or feel about the moment. It's where your actual commentary comes alive, taking raw highlights and turning them into framing, interpretation, and narrative that feels intentional and aligned with your voice. What Kaz does is carry a clear, consistent tone and persona, the one you choose across everything you create. If you like a warm tone, an analytical tone, a humorous tone, or an educator tone, Kaz stays steady with it, so it doesn't replace your voice. It actually protects and amplifies it. It's simply you on your best day, with structure and clarity supporting you. Engine 3, the repurposing engine. The repurposing engine is where everything expands, taking everything you've just created, those highlights and commentary, and stretches it across platforms without you having to rewrite everything from scratch. One idea can now become short clips, long-form videos, social posts, email content, LinkedIn posts, threads, scripts, and throughout all of that, Kaz keeps your message consistent across platforms, something most generic AI tools struggle with because they generate one output at a time, don't carry over your chosen persona across different formats, need constant reprompting to stay in tone, and don't follow a structured workflow that connects your ideas from extraction to commentary to repurposing. The result is you show up in more places more consistently without feeling like you've taken on a second full-time job. How all three engines fit together. So, when you combine these three engines, extraction, commentary, and repurposing, you get a workflow that doesn't just save time, it multiplies your output. It's one system that carries your idea all the way from raw material to finished multi-platform content. And that's what makes Kaz fundamentally different from ChatGPT alone. It gives you a dependable, repeatable, creator-friendly workflow. Now, let's talk about the Kaz beta program. So, if you're sitting here thinking this could genuinely change how I create content, then I want to share something special with you, the Kaz beta program. The beta price today is a one-time fee of $97. Once the full ecosystem is complete, Kaz will move to a retail price of $497. But right now, in this early beta round, it's only $97 for the first 20 people. My goal is to work closely with a small group, gather feedback, build case studies, and evolve Kaz with your real-world use. And even at the $97 level, nothing is held back. You get full access to Kaz, lifetime updates, the guides and training, and every evolution of the tool as it grows. Now, if you want to go deeper, there's an optional add-on. For an additional $100, you can book a 60 to 90 minute one-on-one session with me. In that session, I'll personally help you design your workflow, tune Kaz to your goals, shape tone and persona settings, and get you creating confidently and consistently. Kaz works beautifully on its own, truly, but if you want an accelerated, personalized runway, that option is there. To give you a sense of what early users have shared, here are 2 short comments. Kaz felt surprisingly collaborative. It was like having Gord right beside me while I worked, guiding my thinking in a way no other GPT ever has. And that was from Brad. Kaz has completely changed the way I create. It feels like it actually understands how I think. And that was from Lori. The link to the Kaz beta program is on this slide, and I'll send it to you after the session so you have it handy. No pressure at all. This is simply an invitation if you feel Kaz can support you and help make your next year a more meaningful, creative, and productive one. All right, let's bring everything together. Today, you've seen Kaz from high level overview to full workflow. You've seen the guided demo, the live demo, and the simple system that powers everything, the three engines. You now have a clear picture of how Kaz brings clarity, structure, momentum, and voice alignment to your creative process. So, with that, let's open it up for questions. Feel free to ask anything, whether it's about the workflow, the engines, the demos, the beta program, or how to apply CAST to your specific content needs. I'm happy to walk through anything you'd like. Okay, there we go. Now, I just want to mention before we do the Q&A. Oh, I forgot I had something specific I wanted to say. Um, I'll remember it when we get going. But I believe there's a few questions queued up right now in the question sheet, so I'm going to address those. And anybody can pop in and ask additional questions. And I apologize, I'm running a little longer than I thought. Just 7 minutes left, but I'm not stopping. Whoever's here will cover anything that they have to ask and get through it. So my first question here is from Linda. She said, could you put your book in and use as a base for CAS? So this is a great question, and it's one of the things I wanted to do. In fact, one of the people I do some work with is a private investigator, and he has large documents and other things. And so what you can do is you can put in those multiple resources. But this is one of the interesting challenges with the engines out there, and that is there's a certain size to what they call the context window. So many tokens and so many K's worth of words and stuff like that. So what I've done, Kaz does a great job. So if I have something like I've done stuff that like on 4 hour uh, interview or discussion, I throw it in. But what I do is I created a little utility which isn't available yet. But when I do have that, this is something that'll be great for people. I'll throw it in and it'll say, okay, you need to split that into 4 parts, 3 parts, 2 parts, or it's fine the way it is. And then you just click a button and you can just download it's already you can do a text file, a SRT or a VTT, so you can even use it to create SRT files for captions. And then what it'll do is it'll create text file component pieces. You just load up those components, and then you'll be able to cover easily a 4 hour. I mean, that's the limit I've gone to, but I don't think there's a limit that way. It's more constrained to the size of the individual thing. And one other thing you need to know is when you are using ChatGPT free, to those windows, those size of what you can put in are actually smaller. So in the paid subscriptions, they're larger naturally. You would expect that. So again, I even put in a help thing in this little utility that says, hey, if you're using this kind of model, I actually have it. It'll say you want 4K or 8K token sizes, and then it'll just automatically give you the suggested split. You just click to save the files. So, anyways, it does handle a lot of large, big files, but I don't know how many of you have actually tried throwing that into ChatGPT and see what happens. You'll find it hallucinating, it'll index, it'll fabricate all kinds of stuff, and it'll be just a mess. And you'll go through hell to try and validate it. I know this works solid, and several of the people that are here on the call that are using it have found that accuracy there. So I just wanted to mention that. So yes, I would say, Linda, we can easily put your book in, and all you have to do is we can just approximate. Well, if I don't have that utility done soon enough, but it's just a matter of cutting it up into a few pieces if there's a problem, and then submitting the component pieces.
He was able to take it.
Okay, then we'll have no problem.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. How many pages is it? Roughly.
100.
Oh, no problem. You're all good. You're good. Totally. Okay. And you'll be able to create countless pieces of things from there. Okay. Next, you had another question here, Linda. Is it basing its output on what is currently of interest to your audience? So you have the ability to shape that flavor, right? And that's why I said to you, when I'm extracting, whereas if you use tools like Opus Clip and some of the other ones, it's extracting viral clips. So it's analyzing based on that virality and emotional, whatever. But I can sit there and say that, well, my audience is probably interested in this kind of thing. So I can say, can you extract verbatim quotes? Or you don't have to have verbatim. You can just have paraphrased, which is the nicely polished kind of ChatGPT thing. Or you can ask for what are called pseudo quotes. So it will actually make a compound quote wizardry out of something, out of what you have, and make very interesting compositions for you. So yes, you can tell it whatever it is you're looking for in that outcome to process. So remember, it goes through an extraction engine, then you can tweak and add your commentary, and then the repurposing. So you can introduce that element anywhere along the way, and it'll know to factor it into what you're doing. Okay. Fiona says, so may I conclude that content alchemy is about content scripts, and then it is used in a video like Camtasia. So yeah, well, what? So here's the thing. For the people that are looking, just press the easy button and get a faceless video. That's not what Content Alchemy Studio is. Content Alchemy Studio is made to help you be you and stand out in the world of AI slop. So everyone wants the click a button and I'm done, right? But if it's not you and it's just putting something wonderful together that's not really you, then you're not going to stand out because it'll be the same kind of generic stuff that other people are doing. That's why we went through the examples where we actually shaped things and did stuff. And that effort and energy you put in makes it special and uniquely you. So, in terms of the recording, so you can produce the output scripts verbatim. You can even ask it to put cues into what to do for B-roll. You can tell it to write a storyboard for your script. And you can ask it for B-roll suggestions. You can ask it for image prompts for thumbnails and all kinds of things. So it's trained to produce all kinds of outputs. And so you have to do the recording. And when you're finished with what you produce from here, you'll be producing something that's uniquely you. That's how I see it. I hope that helped, Fiona. If you had a follow up, you can just unmute and pop in there. Feel free. Okay, Fiona must be happy with that. Okay, then the next question I have here is from Chris. Can I share the link to the waitlist for the video? Oh, thank you for raising that, Chris. So Content Alchemy Studio is sort of like a leading flagship type product, but I've developed a suite that's rock solid for video content creators, no matter what the platform. And it's called Content Video Vid Alchemy Suite. And it's a suite of 6 tools. That is soon going to be released. So I have a link for a wait list if people want to get on, because I'll be doing demonstrations like this and stuff. So Chris is going to share that link in the chat for everyone, and I'll send it out after too. Okay, thank you for that, Chris. And now, if there's any other questions, I guess raise your hand, as they say in um, Zoom parlance. I'm happy to answer any more questions. Oh, okay. So wait, I didn't look to see chat. If there's specific things here. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, general, everyone. Okay. Thank you, Lori, for that mention. Lori says, I produced a 90-minute webinar and used all the tools Gore just mentioned. So on that point, just to let everyone know, so I've done, we'll call it 11-day campaign of emails and images and creating all kinds of things, plus the entire production of this class, everything 100% done with Cass. And it's me to a T. and I was very comfortable with all the material produced and delivering it and everything. So I did all of that stuff in such a compressed time. I would have needed weeks before to do that normally, but now I've got such confidence in using the tool. I threw into it all kinds of little guides and documents and things that I've been doing. That Notebook LM video you saw in the beginning was produced by Notebook LM, but it was a result of all my materials that I created for CAS. And then I just gave it a little direction and it created that video overview. So all kinds of content, email blasts, LinkedIn posts, Facebook groups, Facebook profile, and YouTube shorts, everything. So I just wanted to share that. So it's really a whole engine that you can use to apply to many things. Thank you, Brad. Brad says, thank you, Gord. So, thanks. Yeah, I can't wait to see more stuff happen for you and see all the time that comes back. So thank you, Linda. And does anyone else have a question to say uh, to share and help people with other tidbits? Let me just see here. Okay, I'll sure. Go ahead, Linda.
I just want to say, as somebody who was posting 5 days a week on LinkedIn for the last 3 years,
Mm.
I mean, I just can't wait to use this.
That's
Really,
great. And I can't wait to hear
amazing.
how it works for you because
Oh,
that's
wow.
why I'm doing the special beta now is because I want people that are really enthusiastic and energetic about it. And so far, the ones that are in the program, it's just been great. So I'm really happy about that. And yeah, I can't wait to see some of what you produce and how you feel about that. I was going to show one last little thing, and that's what I'm going to call a use case document that I put together. I'm going to share some of these resources after an email, anyways, for people. I'm going to see if I can pull this over. I'm kind of light sensitive, so I have my lights blasting in the room here. Okay, I'm just going to share this for 1 second. Um, What's no more than a second? Pull that over. There we go. Okay, so actually, I think this is the document I shared. Kind of, but it's got a little more detail. Okay, so here. This is just kind of our closing uh, example and whoops, share screen. Can everyone see the screen now with that? It's got text on. Okay. So use cases. We talked about podcast show notes, the social email. So a creator uploads a podcast transcript and wants an episode summary, key quotes. We kind of just did that for Brad. And then here's sort of how the experience differs from ChatGPT if you were doing that kind of thing. The net effect, less prompting, juggling, more consistent voice, and better quote discipline across all assets. YouTube tutorials, live streams, shorts to posts. So what they're doing, little typo here. I don't know why, but perfectionist in me wanted to fix that. A creator uploads a tutorial live stream transcript and wants main steps and insights, a short narration or explainer, YouTube short script. So this is something I do all the time. Something new comes out. YouTube's got new analytics, smart AI tool in there, and I want to talk about it and share with people. Well, I'll go out, I'll grab 2 or 3 of the best videos out there. I'll flip them into transcripts and then throw it into CAS, and then the magic happens. And I'm like, in 15 minutes, I can have a total customized, focused script the way I want and all kinds of assets. So just that time savings in that production and it being so tuned to me is extremely useful. Third one, say you have webinars and you want now to do workshop replays. So a coach or teacher uploads some of their content and you want to extract takeaways, recap of the lessons learned, do a bunch of posts. And again, net effect, very high leverage per webinar. One event becomes a whole recap suite. Coaching and consulting, case studies and stories. This is another thing CAS does amazing well. It's trained to do case studies. So pretend you're, I did this often. So with people in the beta program, we would go through a whole experience. And then I'd say at the end, can you produce a long form and short form case study for me. And wow, here it was. It's like I've got instantaneous social proof just from when I served people to do that. So that was like a very cool thing I thought I kind of stumbled on. So client wins, obstacles, recurring themes, their own reflection, case studies, and then here. So a systematized path with from raw calls to polished stories that preserve real client language. Course lesson summaries. So I think you get the idea. Would people like me to send that out? Because what I love about this is it just helps people, get a good idea of ways to think about how to use it. And that's something I'm going to want to do over time is share case studies and usages that people have because I have countless of them now. And, I think that's one of the biggest challenges. And because I'm very experienced with AI and using tools like ChatGPT and others, I can help people accelerate along the path pretty quickly. So it's just very exciting for me because this is one of the biggest, like I'll call it game changers in my lifetime. And I'm not talking just about my tools, but just what AI and the capabilities of it are. And if people use it properly and use it to make themselves stand out and succeed on their own merits, then they're going to get a leg up on the competition and what others are doing. So that's it. I'm so grateful you all stayed and it was fantastic. And I'll be sending a replay link out. And if you have any questions, you can just follow up with me, DM me on Messenger, or my contact information will be in the email you receive. So thank you, everyone.
Or will the
And
link to buying in be there as well?
oh, did Chris? I think would have shared it.
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay, Chris, if you want to share that. Oh,
We
yeah, of
have
course.
the wait list. The wait list for the suite is there. Must I give another link too?
Well, what about the link for the buying the beta product
Yeah,
for people
buying
to
the
get
beta
it?
product. I
Okay,
didn't see it
I
unless
will
I
send.
missed
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So that will be in the email anyways, so people won't need to worry about that. Of course, I'm
Just
gonna
save me a spot. I'm coming, guy. Save me a spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I currently there's about 11 people in the beta program, and they've been so nice and contributed a lot. So I'm grateful, and yeah. So um, thank you, everyone. I'll just does anyone have any more? I'm just looking here, catching up on chat. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words. That's great. Thank you, Suan, Lori, nice, Esther. Okay, great.
Hey, Gord, is it possible to drop the link to purchase in the chat here?
Yeah, I think Chris, did you? I don't
I
see
don't
it there
think it's
yet.
in there. It's not there yet.
If I
Here,
can do that, I can do it. Yeah. So that must be the link.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
I just wanted to say, Gord, before I get
Yes.
out of here.
Yes, sure,
First of
Marcel.
all, I haven't seen you in a while, but I am so grateful to hear
Oh,
what you're
nice.
doing and just watching what you're doing and getting a product that can actually be trained to an individual's own voice and
Mhm.
using that to make your content, I think is probably going to change the nature of how people use really AI, because if you think about it, most of the products that are on the market today don't really tailor make the content to your own voice and brand. So,
Exactly.
I like that. I totally
Yeah,
like
thank
that.
you so much. I,
You're
I
welcome.
know I know various people that are pounding out faceless videos and stuff like that, and it's like some are getting like no traction. Why?
Mm,
Because that same video with that same generic AI image, they're not even putting their personal brand in there even,
right,
right? So they're just
right,
throwing up random images. Yeah, I love cool images, but I'm trying to put my face at least in there so people
right.
know who it's coming from. And I think that all makes a difference because those are the ones that are going to rise to the top, the ones that use AI to produce what they need. And here's the thing, Lori will tell you, she spent 3 hours creating that webinar, but it's so signature her. And she said to do it the way she did it would have taken her, how long did you say, Lori? It was like,
At least a couple of weeks.
right, at least a
Yeah.
couple of
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that
Yeah.
time factor saving is staggering. And you even managed to get it to give you a framework, right? To replicate for future webinars, right?
Right. And Gordon,
Yeah,
another thing that I really love about it is that I put it in the chat, but it will suggest things to me to do that I don't
of
even
course.
think of myself. And so I end up with a way better product than I would have ever done on my own.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
Yeah, because it's the extensiveness of the training that's gone into that GPT. And I'm not
Mhm.
joking. There's between 1 and 200 hours put into the development of this product. So I can tell you that when ChatGPT was in version 4.0, I went to hell and back trying to get it to work. And then it wasn't until ChatGPT 5.0 came out and started to mature a little, it wasn't able to solve what I tried to do in the precision extraction because basically I had to harness the weaknesses of the main model in order to achieve the result that I got. And that took a lot of work, but I'm so happy it works so well because take like Brad, he'd want to go through and hunt and find those quotes verbatim that he can put into his notes for takeaway. If you say ChatGPT general, it may find some verbatim, it may not. It may just give you fabrications, which it's a pro at. Okay. But if you want stuff, like take Linda, she may want to quote all kinds of things from her book. And she could just throw her book in and say, hey, give me some quotes out of my book where I'm talking about this. I want to make some social posts. Bang, bang, bang. And you're going to see, holy cow, I'm ready so fast. And so, you know, I can't wait to see for how people enjoy using it for those who sign up and anybody who has any questions or wants me to help them think about it if it's good for them or not, they can just reach out to me. And I thank you all again. And all the links will come out in an email to follow. I'm just gonna first catch up on some sleep. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Gord,
And
Gord, could I say something real
sure,
quickly?
Lori, go ahead.
Okay. Another thing. So speaking of sleep, when you're tired or you're just not thinking and you're not in that creative mode, you can put something in there and just say, what can you do with this? What
Oh,
can you
yes,
do
that's
for
a
me with
great
this?
idea. Tell
Yeah.
me what you can do for me. Here's a source. What are the best platforms for me to put output to for this? And then it'll make recommendations and ideas. You don't have to take its recommendations. You can just redirect it. Yeah, there's so much that's built into it analytically in that sort of extraction phase that you'll be amazed. Like you don't have to think. Like literally the blank page syndrome, it's 100% gone. And then you can tune the direction you want it to go once you know. And that's why I'm saying, God, how do I get it out there so people know that use all these clipping tools that you can really literally tell it that you can do what you want. But to Fiona's point, it's not a click the button and the video's there because if you want to be in it, you need to record it. And so until you have a perfect cloned avatar, then you can input the scripts and use that, right? So we're still evolving in the world of the tools for AI, and those possibilities are ahead of us. And I'll be looking to stay, you know, up on it all and see where it makes sense to help the entrepreneur, coaches, consultants, and content creators get productivity and you being able to publish what helps them stand out in the crowd. Okay. Well, thank you all again for staying and just reach out if there's any questions, and I'm happy to help anyone. Okay. Cheers. Goodbye.